to delay. I'm a person who keeps time. But as you know, we have been having a tour of Kampala's roads that are under construction with the Prime Minister and a number of ministers to sort of get a sense of how far we have gone with the roads. Of course, you know that roads are one of the biggest issues of concern in our city, and we are doing our best to make sure that we work on them so that we improve mobility in our city. But that said, I had to cut short that tour to come back here and talk about something else, which I think is also very important. As you are aware, we have about 17 public markets in Kampala. Public markets are workspaces for so many of our people, especially the low-income earners. We have been on a campaign of getting vendors off the streets to the markets, because we'd like our streets to be free, easier to use for the motorists, but also for business in the shops, and trade order to be improved. Trade order, maintenance of trade order is one of the key responsibilities of the Kampala Capital City Authority. But these markets have also had a number of issues. The workspaces were not enough, so the government of Uganda invested heavily, put in some substantial amount of investment in building markets for our low-income earners. And among them was the market in Busega, the Busega market. So you have seen Busega market. We recently had it reopened. And the other public markets like Nakasero, like St. Bali Kudembe, like Nakawa, Bugolobi, and many others. Today I am going to talk about markets generally. And what has prompted me to talk about markets generally is because of some tendencies that we are seeing cropping up, especially with the takeover, with the reopening of Busega market. We have noted some uncomfortable trends that would like to discourage, if not outrightly warn, whoever the perpetrators are, that such conduct, some conduct will not be tolerated. But before I go into the specifics of that, I'm going to invite our Manager Commercial Services, Mr. Kasirye, just to give a small summary of what happened at Busega that has created a bit of concern for us. Yes, Mr. Kasirye.
Thank you.
Of Busega market, our people who were so eager to go into the market, many of them decided to go in. In a way, we know that many of the people who entered the market were the ones who were on the road, so they left the roads and entered the market. But they entered the market in a manner that was not regular. We are aware that we can understand their anxiety. We can understand why they needed to get that. They've been waiting for a very long time. But because of that, it has given a wrong impression to other people around the city that you can just enter a market. We have had rumors that some people also wanted to go and take over KCCA market. The vendors who are there and others who want workspaces there were trying to get into KCCA market, and we had to deploy police there because we are still doing renovations, and say, no, you have to wait. We will finish the market and we will have an organized way of allocating workspaces in accordance with the law. We also are hearing similar complaints about Lufula, the market in Lufula, where the abattoir is, and several other places. Because of these simmering tensions and anxieties, we think it's important to clear the air and get everybody to know how we intend to administer markets moving forward. So we thank you for coming. After the Busega incident, which Mr. Kasira has described, we have had a series of meetings with the minister, with the leaders from that area, with councillors, with the vendors themselves. We have had an engagement with the office of the IGG and several others. What is clear is that there is something called the Markets Act. This is the Markets Act. It was passed in 2023. In this Markets Act, the administration of all public markets and the registration of even private markets is under the administration of Kampala Capital City Authority, in the case of Kampala. So the authority in charge of markets in Kampala is the Kampala Capital City Authority, and this act mentions that wherever you see the word authority, it means the office of the executive director, meaning that all issues to do with administration of markets should be run by the executive director if we are to follow this law. And we have to follow this law because it's the law of Uganda, and we are in Uganda. So in line with that, we have agreed with the various stakeholders that KCCA needs to find a way of making sure that the allocation of workspaces in the Busega market is in accordance with the law. And the law says that the administrator, who is the executive director, shall set up an allocation committee. And it's that allocation committee that is supposed to allocate spaces in markets. We will set up allocation committees for all the markets in Kampala and make sure that that allocation committee does its work fairly for purposes of ensuring efficient administration. This same act provided for officers called market administrators. The role of market administrators, who are employees of KCCA, is to oversee the day-to-day operations of the markets, liaise with the administrative authority, that is the ED, on the affairs of the market, and ensure general maintenance and orderliness of the market. When you go to Busega today, you'll find that there are challenges with garbage, there are challenges with hygiene, there will be challenges with payment of electricity bills, there's challenges with the payment of water bills. Why? Because that role and responsibility is supposed to be executed by KCCA. And from what I'm hearing, some of our people have not been given adequate access and space to do their work, which will not be tolerated. Allocation committees have been constituted, and for those where they have not yet been constituted, they are going to be constituted in consultation with key stakeholders. It is those allocation committees that have the responsibility and mandate of organizing, designating, and assigning workspaces, shops, pitches, stalls, as is stipulated under Section 21 of the Markets Act. But we have noted a number of illegal activities going on, especially in Busega and other places. Among these illegal activities we have noted is illegal allocation of workspaces outside the market allocation committee. People go, allocate themselves one stall, some get more than one, some get 3 or 4, outside the allocation committee. That is illegal because it goes against the provisions of the Markets Act. We have seen incidents of people forcefully entering and occupying market facilities. This cannot be accepted, and this will not be tolerated. We shall use the police and all law enforcement agencies to ensure that public markets that were made for poor people are not forcefully taken by people who are never targeted to be beneficiaries of these markets. We are seeing incidents of some people obstructing our market administrators or even impersonating them. we are hearing reports of illegal collection of money from these poor vendors who are trying to make a living in these markets. These mamas being asked to pay money to work in the markets. That's illegal because it has not been sanctioned by KCCA. And many other illegalities that are undermining the harmony and business in markets. So you find that even people who would be buying from markets may be afraid to go in because of these kind of illegal activities. I would like to make it categorically clear that any individual who, in contravention of the presidential directives and the Markets Act 2023, does any act or omission to undermine and disorganize market operations, that they shall be brought to book. We will not hesitate to engage the authorities, the police authorities, to bring back order. This country has rule of law. All of us are subject to the laws of this country. Whoever you are, and whatever office you hold, you are supposed to be law-abiding citizens. And I can assure you, we will not tolerate illegalities, especially illegalities that affect and hurt the poorest among us, because these are the people who the markets were targeting. The president has said it several times, that markets are incubators. They are like nurseries for the poor people to get workspaces and build their capacity. And when they build their capacity, they can leave these markets and go and rent shops and build and prosper. But we are hearing rumors of people coming in, even from big shops, to come and take over these spaces because they've exchanged money. We understand that many of the people who may have entered the Busega market may be actually the poor people who are on the roadside. But even if it was them, we need to register them. We need to know who they are. We need to make sure that nobody has more than one stall, because the principle is one stall, one person. But we are hearing rumors of people having several stalls. This goes against the spirit of trying to be equitable in giving opportunities to our people who deserve these opportunities. So this is a warning that all those of you who are thinking of taking over public markets, those who are plotting to evict the market administrators and take over the markets using illegally constituted departments leadership. The law says that departmental leaderships shall be constituted by Kampala Capital City Authority, and we are not going to renege on that responsibility. So this is a warning to all those people out there who think that we are sleeping on the job and who want to take advantage of some seeming laxity to perpetrate illegalities. As long as I am the acting ED of KCCA, I will not tolerate that behavior. And I will not hesitate to commence criminal prosecution against those found in contravention of the Markets Act. Secondly, I would like to comment about trade order. There have been people saying that in the festive season, there's a lot of business that is being conducted on the streets in inappropriate workspaces, creating chaos in the city. This is in violation of the law, of course. It is in violation of the Kampala Capital City Act 2010 and the local government's Kampala City Street Traders Bylaws, Statutory Instrument 243 of 2023. We want to discourage trading in the streets because it is very disruptive. And that's the reason why we are trying our best to provide workspaces in the various markets. However, we realize that during Christmas period, there's increased demand for goods and services because of the season. Many people come from upcountry to come and buy some things. And we also know that the vulnerable and the weak among ourselves may need some spaces to be able to earn a living during this period. So this can call for us to be a little bit flexible within the law. And after discussing this with our senior management team, we have temporarily designated Lumu Street and Namirembe Road, which are non-monetarized transport corridor, for street vending strictly between 5 p.m. and 6 a.m. the following morning. We think that Lumu Street and Namirembe Road, which are non-monetarized, can be utilized by our people to do their business between 5 p.m. and 6 a.m. That should be helpful. That can be a window. It will not be a permanent one, but it can be a window for the festive season. But we cannot have our streets full of vendors. Otherwise, we'll have accidents. We'll have a city that is not comfortable to operate in. This intervention shall be operational until 5th January, after which no vendor will be permitted on the streets. We are doing this to enhance trade and mobility order, as well as decongesting the streets of Kampala. Beyond this, I'd like to tell you that in due course, we are going to have another press conference where I will be, on behalf of the management of KCCA, giving an account of the 100 days commitments we made in September. When I was taking over this office, we made some commitments to the country of the things we are going to do in the 100 days. We have been able to make some progress on those things. And we think it's right to call another press conference and give accountability.
By the government of Uganda, it was completed in 2022 and handed over by the Ministry of Local Government to KCCA. However, do I proceed or? Busega market was constructed by the Ministry of Local Government and handed over to KCCA in 2022. However, with the various prerequisite infrastructures not requiring our completion, and these included the drainage channel and the parking space for the customers for offloading and loading, and then customers, and then a few load by taxis for the decongesting the area. KCCA completed construction of these prerequisite infrastructures in October, and the contractor handed over. When the contractor handed over to KCCA, we commenced the process of allocation of workspaces in line with the presidential directives and the Markets Act, which require that allocation of workspaces in a public market is supposed to be undertaken by an allocation committee established by the jurisdiction authority, in this case KCCA. On 25th, an allocation committee was established, and on 26th November it was inaugurated and a meeting was held. On 27th, a meeting was held of key eminent leaders from the area of Rubaga and Busega specifically, and that meeting was attended by various leaders in the area, and the aim of that meeting was to conclude on the roadmap. It was a 7 days roadmap to see relocation of vendors who were previously occupying in the market and then in the temporary relocation market at the roundabout. However, on 27th, on the eve of 27th, after the meeting, unknown people entered the market in the night, and following that entry, a number of unpleasant activities have been taking place, and it is now that we have noted and identified all the challenges, all the issues, and we are here to inform the public on the next course of action and what the provisions of the presidential directives and the Markets Act require us to do, and what they await to face.
Omuwagizi yenna NRM agamba nti tebagobera amateeka olw'okubanga ba NRM ndowooza abeera agala kuvumirira oba kuvumisa linnya lya NRM, kubanga NRM sikiwa nti ewagira obumenyi bw'amateeka. Negana amateeka lino etteeka lya Markets Act lyayisibwa Parliament ejjudde NRM. N'olwekyo si kituufu nti olw'okubanga oli mu kulembeze mu NRM nti olina okumenya amateeka. Si kituufu. Gavumenti eri mu buyinza ya NRM. Gavumenti ya NRM yefuga Kampala Capital City Authority. Yeyayisa lino etteeka yeyampa omulimu gwa iddi. Omulimu gwange kuteeka mu nkola biri mu mateeka gano. Ate gano amateeka gaŋŋamba nti waliwo emitendera gye tulina okugoberera okugaba emidaala. Waliwo emitendera gye tulina okugoberera okugaba amaduuka agali mu butale. N'abantu abalina okuganyulwamu amateeka gano gambulidde nti walina okubeera Allocation Committee. N'olwekyo omuntu yenna akola ekintu ekiri wabweru w'amateeka tekijja kunkalubiriza kumutwala mu kooti. Nandyagadde okusaba era abakulembeze b'NRM tubadde twogera nabo. Era nawe najja mu katale abaali omwandaba ne mukulu Kitata nayogera naye. Namugamba nti kye tukola kyonna mu katale ako kirina kuba nga kigondera amateeka. Era tujja amateeka gano tugenda gateeka mu nkola. Naye kye twagala kiri simple bwenkanya. Amateeka gano gagamba omuntu abeera n'omudaala gumu. Olina kuba muntu mwavu eyeetaaga okolera mu katale. Olina okubanga either oli kwabo bwe baali basuubiza okuyingira akatale, bw'obanga toli kwabo ng'olina ebisaanyizo ebirala ebisobola okukkiriza okukolera mu katale. Bw'obanga oyise ebisaanyizo bino, Allocation Committee gye tutaddewo egenda kuwa mudaala. Twagala bwenkanya. Twagala tukole emirimu kati waliwo awantu walina kubeerawo parking space, mutaddewo maduuka. Awalina okubeera kino mutaddewo. Akatale kajja kwonooneka nga tekakoze mulimu gwe kalina kukola. Kakati ffe gavumenti yatuwa omulimu ogw'okuddukanya kino ekibuga nga tugoberera amateeka. Mulimu si mwangu naye mulimu tugenda kwewaayo tugukole. N'olwekyo ekyo kye njagala okuddamu ekyo. Kale